everyone, I'm Allison Bickle. I'm here with Brian and Matt Avery. And today we are going to be doing a special webinar focused on our ticket sign-up business and how timers can make money from that. So I am going to hand it over to Brian. As we're presenting and you have questions, you can feel free to ask them in the question box and we'll get a response back to you as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Allison. So as Allison mentioned today, what we're trying to do is expose the ticket platform to our timers, because our timers are kind of our best sales and marketing channel. So you guys do a great job of keeping in contact with your customers, and you may actually have more opportunities for more business. And the goal today is to maybe talk to you about some of the success we've already had with other timers. Maybe you can replicate that, or maybe it puts a light bulb in your head to say, oh, I know someone that does events like that. And just a couple other things on here is Allison's going to go over kind of an in-depth walkthrough, and Matt Avery, our race day expert here, is going to go through our app as well as our point of sale capabilities. So at the end of this, you should really feel confident about why and who might be a good fit, and then how the system works start to finish. So here's a couple examples. Some of you may be heavily involved with cross country and track. So the first two examples here is the Hoka Festival of Miles. Some of you who are more into the professional running scene may be really familiar with the Festival of Miles. It's typically broadcast live. There's typically some pretty high caliber mile and 5K men's and women's races that they broadcast. And they used our platform to sell tickets this year. Big River Race Management kind of helps manage this event, and we're able to move them off of another ticket platform and onto this ticket platform. Then on the right-hand side, some of you may be familiar with the Adidas Outdoor Track Nationals that were in Greensboro, North Carolina. This is a full weekend event. So there was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and full weekend passes that were sold. This is an extremely popular event. If any of your kids have ever participated in any sort of national championship, of course you want to attend, and however long you need to be there. I think they had nearly 5,000 tickets sold. So the platform scales really well. And this page looks just fantastic to me. I really like kind of the black against the neon green here. So a couple other examples here are maybe more traditional to what all of us might think of like why we buy tickets, which is a music festival, a bourbon and blues festival. So many of these events are combinations of things that we all enjoy, which is music and food. So these are going to be a little bit harder to sell, but some of you may have really close relationships with an event that has a music festival tied to it, or they're adding a music festival to that. And that's where your relationship with the race director to say, hey, I can actually help you with not only timing, but also ticketing for the festival. And we've had quite a bit of success with getting introductions to that, and love to talk to more people about how we could help them with ticketing. So another one we wanted to bring up is holiday events. So this example here is Red, White, and Boom, which is a July 4th event. So there's all sorts of different types of holiday events. St. Patrick's Day, we have July 4th, we have Labor Day. There's all sorts of festivals that might be going on depending on where you live and the time of year that's more popular for different types of events. Again, they may be tied to races, and this is why we're kind of showing this to you to hopefully maybe open those gears up a little bit to say, hey, maybe some of these events that are tied to holidays also are selling tickets. And the other thing that's kind of interesting is that many small towns that have put on festivals in the past have typically been free, so they're not great fits for tickets. Well, many of them are coming back saying, like, we really need to charge $5 or $10 to keep the event going because we can't afford to just subsidize all the costs. So there's likely going to be more opportunities for events to be selling tickets that maybe were free in the past. Some other examples would be nonprofits that you work with. A couple on here is Clams for Cures, which is a big clam bake, and Together in Teal. So all of us on the call work with many nonprofits, and quite often they have other events such as galas something related to food, or get-togethers that are a little bit more maybe reserved. So they may only have 100 or 200 tickets, but they may really appreciate your help and your relationship with them because their current ticketing system, they don't have anybody to ask questions to. And we have some really great features for nonprofits. So while you're buying your ticket, you could make $100 or $250 contribution and then get a free ticket. So these are unique capabilities that are similar to registration that most ticketing companies don't offer. And then the other thing is that they may struggle with check-in for their event. And we've got a fantastic check-in app that they may not have any idea how to use, and it would take you 5-10 minutes to teach them how to use it. So another example that's really interesting, we've seen this more across country, but this could be for lots of different types of events where the event itself is free, but they need to pay for parking. And so parking is, typically, hopefully inexpensive. In some places it can be quite expensive, but typically in that $5 to $15 range. And they may want to try to pre-sell that parking so that they can have 2 lines. If you've already bought your parking pass, come through, scan the QR code and get you through the line. If you haven't, you could put a QR code up for the line so people could scan that. A lot of these groups are trying to avoid cash because cash involves cash drops. So, imagine a volunteers collecting $5 every 20 seconds. At a certain point, and maybe it's every hour, they need to drop that cash off securely. And so sometimes that involves having like the police, kind of help with that cash drop off. Also, volunteers just may not be comfortable carrying that much cash or other people's cash. So, and making change and things like that. So we're seeing more people inquiring to us about that. So if you're working some cross-country meets this fall and they have to pay for parking because the state park requires this, our ticketing platform could be a really good fit for that. So a little overview on TicketSignup. The first thing is that the TicketSignup and RunSignup platforms, it's all based on the same platform. What I will say is that it is not just a stripped down version of registration, it's a ground up ticket build. It's a separate system based on very similar systems, such as you can use the same payment account, you can see the same email capabilities, the website capabilities in tickets. We're actually going to be rolling that out to registrations. And also the neat thing about our TicketSignup platform is it's become a testing ground for some of our latest and greatest new features. So we rolled out Apple Pay with tickets. We actually found a interesting bug in there, which we were able to resolve before we rolled it out to registration. So it's been a great way for us to test out a lot of the new technology that we have before rolling it out to registration. I want to reiterate that if you have a client that already has a RunSignup payment account that's approved and ready to go, they can be up and running on tickets in minutes because it's a shared payment account. Now they can have a separate payment account for tickets, but just always want to point that out. One tailwind that's going to help both of us is that Eventbrite, effective September 5th or 6th, is rolling out a fairly significant price increase as well as the subscription model. This is going to irritate a lot of people because they just aren't used to and aren't interested in paying for using Eventbrite. So the biggest hurdle has been is like, well, everybody goes to Eventbrite. That's generally just not a true statement. But now it's like, okay, well, do you really believe that people go to Eventbrite enough to pay them? And not only that, you have to pay really to be found on their system. It's kind of a pay to play. And our key target markets right now are 2 types of tickets, general admission and timed entry tickets. And we're going to talk a little bit more about timed entry tickets. So fees, one of the most important things, if you don't remember anything else from my presentation here, the partner program applies to tickets. So if you set up a ticket event, it's automatically applied to your partnership. We also have a link that you could share to your event director. If they click on it, it'll automatically apply it to your partnership. If you introduce us to someone, we can manually apply that referred event to your partnership. And so what does that mean? Our standard fees, the same fees as RunSignup apply, and you would receive 20% of the processing fees. We do offer volume pricing, and we can talk to you about that because there are some very, very significantly large opportunities and tickets, much larger than registration, so we can collaborate on that. And also, if you're providing additional services such as marketing, or you're going to do on-site support, things like that, our custom fees can be set up as well, meaning like, hey, I want to charge 8% plus $1 instead of our standard 6% plus $1. You can do that and make the extra fees on it as well. So there's lots of flexibility on the fees. We definitely want to compensate you for helping us win business. So you can see in here, we're giving you the examples. So inside of your partner dashboard, if you click on ticket events, which you may never have done, there is a create an event. So if you click create an event from there, it'll automatically apply that to your partnership. You also can send an invite just like you can for races. So either way, you can make sure that you're getting credit. And if you're not sure, just shoot us a note and we'll double check it. It should also show up under ticket events and event list. You'd be able to actually see the list of events that you have tied to your partnerships related to tickets. And then the other thing, again, some of these ticket events, like we have some of our partners who do business with county fairs and state fairs where they're doing races on support of that, and they may have some relationships there. Those can be extremely large, 50, 100,000 tickets. We'll work together to help, put together a proposal there and figure out how do we give that client the best pricing, as well as giving you a piece of the processing fees. So how do you find opportunities? The interesting thing is we've been doing this for a little over a year, and there's just a lot of opportunities out there. For many timers, I think track and cross country meets, because some of you are, related to those groups by, hey, you might help at some of those meets, and there's a good network of people there. Especially when you get to championship meets, they do typically need to at least charge for parking. Sometimes, especially for track, they charge for spectators. The other thing to think about is parks and rec departments, chambers of commerce, any sort of local group that you have a relationship with that puts on, small to medium-sized festivals. They're typically not very happy with their ticketing platform. And as you know, by working with us on RunSignup, a lot of the battle is just helping people get set up correctly. Because once they're set up correctly, it's a lot easier to help them if they're not collecting bad data or just not having their event set up correctly from the get-go. If you're working at events that have festivals, those are great opportunities. If you do events with breweries, wineries, distilleries, a subset of these do a lot of events. Some do zero, and like the only thing they do is like trivia night, which isn't a great fit. And then others do fairly large 3,000 to 5,000 person festivals 2 or 3 times a year. And they might really appreciate you having a conversation with them. And maybe it's just introducing us because they may not be very happy with their ticketing platform. And then the last one is sporting events. So sporting events are kind of the really low-hanging fruit if you can get those conversations. So we work with a group out of Minnesota that's actually helping put on the World Cross Country Ski Championships. And they have general admission tickets, grandstand tickets, and VIP tickets. They sold those tickets in July for the event in February and sold out in, I think, less than 24 hours. We've had lacrosse tournaments, baseball tournaments. We're starting to have some conversations with some timers who have really tight relationship with their high school, and talking to them about doing, lots of different ticketing events at the high school. Those sales are going to be a little bit harder, but if you already work at the high school or the middle school and they're just dying on the vine on ticketing, that's probably a good opportunity to talk to them as well. So the other things we wanted to point out is, so we have 2 team members, Jake Unger and Sarah McMahon, who are totally focused on ticketing. They are very knowledgeable on RunSignup, answer a lot of questions on RunSignup in terms of helping customers who are using both platforms. So you may get a phone call from them, you may see an email from them. They're real people, they're here to help you. So if you come across a ticket opportunity and you're kind of interacting with them, know that they're here to help you, know that they want to, close the business just as bad as you do. And don't be surprised if they've reached out to you already. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Allison.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick intro to TicketSignup, and then what we're going to do is a quick demo of how you create a ticket event, and that demo will serve as a way for Matt to demo our check-in app as well as point of sale. So the first thing is like, how is TicketSignup different than registration? So we talked a little bit about how we work really well for both general admission as well as time ticketing. The other thing that I think is like the way that we're trying to explain it is that TicketSignup is about selling tickets. It's not about people. Because when you are doing registration, you have all these downstream things that you need people data for, like results, bib assignment, all this stuff that happens with a race. Whereas in ticket events, you really just care about getting their purchase. You don't care what their name is. You don't care the names and the ages of all the individual people that they're bringing. And so because of that, it ends up being this really, really fast purchase path. And this is just kind of an example of what that looks like. While there are options to collect information on ticket holders and ticket purchasers, like I want to collect each person's name because I'm doing a gala or a golf tournament, it's not on by default, and we kind of recommend not doing that. We also have custom questions, of course, in tickets. The other big difference is when you're buying tickets, you don't have an account or login like you do with RunSignup. Again, that's because we care about tickets. We don't care about the people. And like we just rolled out in registration, we have Apple Pay and Apple Wallet, which kind of makes the whole ticket purchase path experience really slick and fast. A lot of the features that exist in TicketSignup are the same as RunSignup. We've brought over a lot of things and purpose-built them for TicketSignup, and vice versa. We've built things and rolled them over to the RunSignup platform, like the upgrades to email and website. And so kind of looking at this list, when you create your first ticket event, I think most of you are going to feel really familiar with it because it's the same wizard, it's the same dashboard. It's just a lot of things that are really familiar and that you already know how to use, which is great for being able to quickly get up to speed on tickets. There's also some differences. Well, I didn't put this down, but like RunSignup has had like 12 years of solving customers' problems, and so there's a million features. There are not that many features in TicketSignup because it just has not been around as long, right? But some of the big differences, again, no logins, passwords required when buying tickets. The reporting is a little bit different. So with tickets, you have two different concepts. One is the purchase, and a purchase can consist of many tickets and store items and a donation perhaps. And then you've got individual tickets, which is, this is one general admission ticket, one VIP ticket. And we'll go through that in a little bit. We have some advanced ticket features, like I want to buy 2 adult tickets and then I get 2 kid tickets for free, advanced caps, things like that. We're not going to go through all those, but if you do have a more complex event, our salespeople, Jake, Sarah, as well as our support, Elizabeth, Katie, will be able to work with you to enable these features, and it really lets the platform handle a lot of different types of events. We have slightly different ticket tiles and calendars. So one of the things that you'll see is like the quantity selector. So you can like pick how many tickets you want to buy and go quickly into the purchase path. And then there's also this calendar, which is really built for our timed entry. The other differences that I've highlighted on the other side are the website and store. And the reason that I bolded these is that we are actively working on bringing website v2 into races. So it actually is there. It's admin only right now. We need to add more functionality to it with all the system pages that exist for races. But I'll quickly show you website v2 and tickets today. And it's also like a nice preview of what is coming to races in just a couple of months. The other thing is store and warehouse, and I know this is a big request on races, and again, like one of the reasons that we're able to build this next generation of it is because of TicketSignup and the opportunity that exists there. And so we're kind of still maturing some of the functionality around store and warehouse, but we do have plans to bring that over into races, hopefully by the end of 2024. One of the key things that we have enabled for store and tickets is the idea of inventory sharing across events. And again, we want to bring that over to races so you have that inventory sharing of like, I've got this many t-shirts available across all the races. And with that, we are going to shift into a quick demo to do a ticket event setup. So like Brian said, this is where you would grab that link. So if you have customers that want to set up their own event, like a customer would set up their own race, you can give them this with your partner code appended. Also, you can just reach out to us and we'll be able to add your partner account to an event that you create. So when you go and create your event, again, this is really similar to what it looks like when you create a race. You've got the same thing of setting up your event date. We're going to do this really similar to the example that Brian showed from Adidas Outdoor Nationals, where you've got a ticket for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. ChatGPT generated a nice little description for this imaginary track meet, and I've got some images already to go. And then we'll do the track here as our place. And then one of the nice things here is, again, we make donations really prominent. So you can enable donations so that when people are buying tickets, that's all in one. Again, that's really differentiated from a lot of other platforms. And when you think about working with like track meets, cross country meets, they're typically associated with like a school or a nonprofit. You can enable donations. It's just a nice little feature to have. These are just questions to let us know a little bit about your event when you're setting up. And then our event is created. The next step of setting up your event is going to be to create tickets. So this is really similar again to what we see in RunSignup. You can add a single purchase period. You can add additional purchase periods. So if the price is going to go up, and then you're just going to enter in the ticket price. Because I'm going to do some real purchases, I'm just going to add these in as $1. But you can quickly add these tickets. And this is really focused on adding simple tickets. Our platform does work really, really well for a more complex setup. So like an example of that would be like on Sunday, I want to offer different prices for adults and kids, or I want to offer tickets to a month-long event. And we do have capabilities to handle that now today, and then I'll show you kind of what we're working on behind the scenes. So now we've got all of our tickets set up, and then this is the same payment account that I use on RunSignup, and so all of your existing payment accounts are going to show here. So I can just choose the funding account that I want to use. I've got processing fee options, and then we are set up. So I'm going to quickly go into the dashboard, and we're going to do a quick few customizations here, and then we'll show you what the website and the ticket purchase path looks like. So this is one of the new things we have that is different than what you see in races. You can really easily customize your website to make it look beautiful. We have some new different layout options, and again, these are things that are all coming to races later this year. So that's one option that you have right there, and that is just customizing what that homepage looks like. So this is kind of one of those new layout options. Looks pretty nice. The way that you are able to add content to your website is also different. It's through the website builder. And so you're probably familiar with adding custom content sections and then arranging those into a menu, and they're kind of in disconnected places on the dashboard. So our next generation of websites is consolidating all that functionality. It's a really, really easy like point and click drag and drop template builder. So you can really easily rearrange the content, the layout, change the order that things are in. And one of the nice things if you are setting up a website for customers or letting them design it is you can really easily add additional pages. So like a common thing with a track meet might be adding a schedule. And so you can add content and you can choose from different things, but like, let's just say it's going to be text, and you can say, you know, hurdles, 9 a.m., discus, 10 a.m. I ran track. I know that this is not how track meet works, but you have that type of a thing. And then you've got the option to view that on your website, and you've got that schedule as a new menu item. So it's pretty nice. I just wanted to give a preview of that because it is coming to races, and it is a way to really enhance that onboarding for any customers that you're bringing over to TicketSignup. And it's really easy to do. One of the other things that I wanted to point out is we set up a weekend pass as one of our ticket options. And Matt's going to show how this really connects with the check-in app. But one of the really cool features that we introduced is the concept of a multi-use pass. So by default, when you're setting up a ticket, it's a single use. Like, you get checked in once and that ticket has been validated. But we've come across a lot of different opportunities where people have season passes, or they might have a limited use pass for like a weekend. And so we said this is a weekend pass, they can have 3 check-ins, so let's just limit that to 3. If it's an unlimited, you can put unlimited. But it's just a really cool way to handle everything, and we'll see how that affects check-in app. The other thing I wanted to mention is caps. It's just like races. You might have a limit on how many people can buy tickets. And so you can just enter in caps. There's tickets that are sold because our team is like doing fake transactions so that there's data in here for Matt to demo the check-in app later on. And again, like, you're kind of seeing the same exact things that you see in tickets or in races. You've got imports and ticket management, like participant management. You've got the dashboard that navigates the same way. So it all looks pretty familiar. I did want to show you the store again because we want to demo how that works with the check-in app point of sale. We've seen a lot of customers really like that they can do tickets and store in one platform rather than having that split. And also because this is something that we are going to bring over to races and get rid of what currently exists, replace it with this new stuff. So adding existing items is this concept of a warehouse. I can go pick an existing shirt, or I can create a new item. So I'm just going to create a new one so I can show this today. We're going to do a $1 thing, but you can have strike-through process pricing. Like in races, you can choose where these can be purchased. So we're going to do both when buying a ticket as well as in the standalone store. And then we can set up variants, and variants allow us to do things like size and color, which is what we're going to do for our demo. So size would be like small, medium, large, and then color would be like blue and white. We're going to save that item, and we have a ton of options now. So one of the things is you can just quickly do a display, and since I made a track shirt, we're going to do that. And then the other thing that you're able to do is going to be quantities. And one of the really powerful things that you're going to have is the ability to do quantity by variant. So I've got this many blue shirts, this many small white shirts available. The other thing that you can do is pricing. So this has come up a lot in races over the years, but you can choose to differentiate pricing. So I want to charge, let's say, $3 for the small blue shirt and $2 for the white shirt. The rest of them are going to be that standard $1 pricing. So you can get really sophisticated with how you are doing your pricing for different items that you sell. So that is a quick overview of store. The other thing that I wanted to just point out is you've got the same thing with coupons. This one's going to be free, so you can set up coupons, you can share them across events. It's a really nice way to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out, and I'm going to actually open a new window so that I'm not logged in and we'll do a test purchase here, and then we'll do one on my phone, and then we'll look at reports, and then Matt's going to show us the check-in app. So this is the website. I'm buying online. So I can add tickets from across different types to my checkout container or checkout. I've got this. I've got shirt, continue, and then I'm going to put in this. One of the things you'll notice here that is different is we've cut down on the credit card requirements, so we don't actually require the billing address, and this makes it really fast when you're purchasing on mobile. I'm going to do a free transaction, so you're not going to see all of that come, but this is the waiver refund policy that we set in the wizard. You can obviously edit that, and then this is confirmed. Okay, so we've got one ticket purchase online, and then I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like on a phone. Matt will also bring this up again, but we have QR codes, so that is nice for fast purchase. And this is my phone here. And so we can quickly get to the website by scanning the QR code. And I'm just going to buy a ticket for Friday. I'm not going to buy a t-shirt this time. So I've just got this one Friday ticket. I want to show you this Apple Pay because it just makes checkout so fast when you are paying on site. So pay now, and that is going through. And because I have an iPhone, I'm buying this on my iPhone, I have the option to add my tickets to Apple Wallet. So I can click that, and it's pulling in all these event details. So it's showing like my ticket purchase details. It's got my QR code. So when you go to do the check-in app, it's really fast for people to have that up on their phones. And then one of the other nice things is it's very customized. You might have seen this on races and your customers using this when they're checking in. But it's actually pulling in the theme color that you chose. So if your theme color, the primary color is pink or yellow, the ticket is going to look like that in Apple Wallet. So it's just a really, really nice user experience that's been added to my wallet. And then, yeah, that's just kind of how fast that purchase works on phone. And so let's just quickly look at the reports. You can pull up an individual ticket purchase just by searching on a name. So if we look for Allison, you'll see my ticket purchases are here. And this is just like searching for a participant in a race. It helps you really deal with customer support really quick. And when you go here, you've got a ton of management options for me. So some of these are editing ticket information, refunds, transferring my tickets to a different date, and then adding store items to an existing order. So like I call you, I want a t-shirt, you can add that so that data appears in the check-in app. So ticket purchases are about the purchase, and it's showing, you know, how many, it's kind of a summary of who bought what. And then if we go into individual tickets, this probably isn't as interesting because we're not collecting any individual ticket data, but this will give you a breakdown of all the individual tickets that have been purchased. And similar to RunSignup, you have some report customization options here. You've got different filters that are existing up here right now. And then you can also choose to show which columns you want to display in the report, and you've got your export options as usual. And you've also got a quick summary report, so you can kind of track your sales across everything. The other place where you're able to view summary stats is Insights. So just like Race Insights, this is giving you real-time data about what's happening on the site. So we're seeing where the ticket purchases are coming from, how much has been sold, and then here you've got a breakdown of how many tickets have been sold, and that displays differently when you've got a cap on a ticket type versus not. So a lot of this is really familiar, and you should feel pretty comfortable just getting right into tickets. Some of the features are a little bit more specific to tickets and for advanced events as well. And I just wanted to kind of close out with that today. One of the things that we do really well today is time ticketing. One of the niches that we found some initial success with is with haunts and holiday light shows. And so this is showing what we have today. This is a haunt that's set up, getting ready to start selling tickets in a couple of weeks. And we have this calendar where people can choose their date. And when they go into the purchase path, they can choose a time slot and a ticket type. So it works really well today. But we think that this is a really great way to kind of grow our business, invest in this next generation of time ticketing, admissions, and booking software. And so what we are doing behind the scenes is a patent pending calendar interface for time ticketing. And it's going to give people a really sophisticated way to manage admissions and timed entry events. And so Brian kind of gave this list of things that I think are really good fits today and that we know timers have already brought onto the platform. But kind of, I just wanted to talk about this because it is something that we are working on. I think it does open up a ton of opportunity. And whether it's a 3-day festival that has timed entry ticketing, a haunt, a holiday light show, whether you are looking to get into event management or just kind of refer business, this is where we are heading with our ticketing product. And we'll continue to do simple tickets really well, but this is kind of this next generation that has this calendar interface both on the dashboard for controlling your event and all these settings, as well as in the purchase path when people are selecting which ticket they want to buy and which time slot they want to come in. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt, and he is going to go through the ticket app.
So yeah, what we're going to do now is go through a demo of the Tickets app, how to set it up, how to enable your event for check-in availability, as well as a demo of some of the different features of the Ticket app, and also go through an example of using it for a point of sale configuration. So let's go ahead and get started with it. So I've got a lot of slides, but I'm going to try to go through them pretty quick. This will be available in our YouTube video once we post that. So you'll be able to take that presentation and go through all the details in the slides that I may gloss over due to time constraints. So again, this will be recorded. We'll provide the presentation to you. So when we set up a ticket event, this is very similar to the way that it works for races. If you're familiar with the race day check-in app, you do have to enable a check-in period for your ticket event. So very similar, you go into your event dashboard, search for check-in or go to event and then check-in, and then you have to tap the mobile app area here and then enable the check-in app that way. So what you'll do is you'll come down to the right here and see there's a section to enable the ticket check-in app and set these dates. And what this will do is it will say, during this time frame, my event will be available to load in the Tickets app. So what it's going to do is make it available in the Tickets app. It's not going to control whether or not things can be checked in. It's just going to make it available or not available when you're searching for it. So you do have to set a password. You can use the password hint on the right here to give yourself an idea of what your password was. A lot of times we just end up putting the password in there, but you can just use a hint if you'd like to. And then if you don't already have the event or the app loaded on your mobile device that you're going to try this out on, we do give you links and a QR code to download the apps on either of the app stores that we have available on. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through this on my end as we are doing it. So I've got my track meet testing event here. I'm going to go to event check-in, mobile app, and I'm going to say it's available the first of the year until 2030. And let's do testing 1, 2, 3. Make sure I got it right. Okay, so now my event should be available in the Tickets app. Next, the other step you could do right now is to set up a Square. So if you are using or planning on using a Square to collect on-site sales, you do have to first set up a Square account and you link it to your ticket sign-up event on the dashboard under Financial Square. So if you haven't set up a Square account, it's pretty easy to do so. It took me like 5 minutes, if that. We use these little Square contactless readers that work fantastic. And to use them, you have to set up an account. So you can use your existing Square account, log into it. But basically, come into here. If you have already enabled Square on another event of yours, it will show a business name here on the right. Otherwise, you can add a new one. It'll say something like set up a Square authorization if you haven't already done so on your login. And if you are setting up a new Square authorization, it will log you into your Square account in the browser here, and then you will see the linked account appear in the event dashboard, which you can select. So most importantly, if you are going to do it, make sure you go to the Financial Square page, enable Square integration. That's a little toggle at the top. And then you have to select what business it's called in Square terms. I think you're going to use for this one. So in my case, look for Square. I'm going to enable Square integration for this event, and don't dox me. I'm going to select my business here, and this event will now be available for Square. All right. Okay, so next you have to go ahead and install the app if you haven't already. You can search for it on the Android and iOS, on Android or iOS via the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Like we showed before, you can scan the QR codes on the setup page in the event dashboard, or you can just search in the pages in order to find them that way. Just search like Run Sign Up Tickets or Ticket Sign Up Tickets, and they'll pop up. Now, just a note here, it is possible to install the app onto 2 laptop type devices. So if you have an M1 or an M2 Mac, you can install it via the Mac store. Or if you have a Chromebook that is able to install Android applications, you can use it on that Chromebook as well, just by installing it via the Google Play Store as you would normally any other Android app on that Chromebook. So if you prefer that kind of keyboard and mouse usage, you are able to do that on those 2 kinds of devices. Specifically, has to have, if it's a Mac, has to have an M1 or an M2 processor. Those are the ones that can run iOS applications. So I've already got the app set up on my phone. I have it running right here, but we'll go through that in a few. So some app first steps. As you are getting started learning how to use the app, just wanted to give you a quick overview of all the different things that you can do. So it'll show first off any events that you have loaded at the top here. When you first launch it, you won't have any events loaded, and then it'll show all events beneath that. So when you're searching on your device, it'll filter through all of the local events you have already loaded on your device and any events that are out on TicketSignup that have not been imported to your device yet. There's a little settings up here, a little gear icon, and that will allow you to define device level settings, and those will override any settings from the event. So there's a subset of settings in here that will override anything coming from the event setup. So in this area, you can change the device name. I usually just name it after like, okay, Matt's iPhone or Matt's Android or whatever. You can get support. You can delete the local database, which is really only needed if you are told to do so by a support person. And then these My Device settings here at the bottom, these are used to control a few different things that we think are more device specific. So you may have one device out of your suite of devices that you want to work a certain way or not work a certain way. And so you can use these device level settings to override any and all settings that have come in via configurations. So the check-in scan audio and vibration basically is give you feedback when you do a check-in scan. You look up someone by their confirmation code QR. It'll beep or vibrate on your phone. You can enable or disable that, whatever you prefer. This use only front camera. This is typically used if you are using a laptop experience and you want like on a Chromebook where you don't have a rear facing camera. You can say, I only want to use the front facing camera. So if you're using a laptop device to scan QR codes, you probably want to enable this. Otherwise, it's going to be a black screen whenever you try to scan something by default. You can flip which camera you use, but for laptop devices, it's kind of annoying. So we recommend enabling this for any laptop devices that you are using in your suite of devices. And a few other things here. You can customize the check-in experience for this specific device, showing the checked-in tickets or not. If you are using one of the Brother printers that we work with, you can automatically print after doing a purchase. These two settings below here are pretty important to describe. This exact match lookup, basically, if you are typing in a search term when you are searching for a ticket by email or name or whatever, it'll try to automatically load if it finds an exact match. Sometimes that can cause problems if you started typing in, let's say there's a Matt with 2 T's and a Matt with 1 T, and I type in M-A-T very slowly, it will see there's M-A-T in there and it'll automatically load them because this is set to fast. If you don't like that, you can change it to slow, or you can disable it entirely, and it will never automatically bring up a ticket purchase if it finds an exact match. So these are just, as you're using device, you may find that you prefer a different way of the app working. Here you can change this. So the lookup result is more commonly found to be used in the configuration, and we'll go into that a little bit later. But basically, it changes and customizes what happens if I tap a ticket or a ticket purchase in the app. Does it bring me to view the details about the ticket, or does it change me to go to the store fulfillment page for any store items on this ticket? So this will be very important when we get to the part about customizing configurations for different uses. So we're going to do one that's like it's like a t-shirt pickup station, and we don't care about the ticket information. That all we care about is I scan a QR for a ticket and it brings me right to the screen where I can update how many t-shirts are picking up right now. So I'll show you some more things. Again, as you use the event, the first thing you're going to want to do is load the event that you created or are going to test or set up. You do have to enter in the password as you do so. Again, if you don't see the event, make sure you have it set up correctly so that the date ranges are correct and your password is all set there as well. So let's go ahead and just go through this. So I have my, I have my track meet testing, and I'm gonna find my event here. That's my track meet testing, and I made it testing 1, 2, 3. And now I am gonna allow my device to make purchases because I do plan on showing that as well. And it looks like I've got some test purchases already showing in here and some tickets as well. So you'll see that in the list here, I have, again, purchases and tickets. Like Allison mentioned, purchases are a grouping of tickets. So this first one here, Elizabeth, has 3 tickets that she purchased. And if you scroll down, you would see just the tickets, and it'll say Elizabeth purchased one for Friday, one for Saturday, and one for Sunday. So when I search for Elizabeth, it will display any purchases that have Elizabeth on it. So Jane Doe maybe purchased one for Elizabeth as well, and so on and so forth. All right. Next. Yep, I just showed you this, where we get the password. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the different features of the app. So it's fairly similar to the race day check-in app if you've used that before, but there are some slight tweaks. There are these different modes in particular that are different. By default, you are in the check-in mode. This allows you to look up and check in tickets for this device. You can also go into purchase mode, which is used to perform on-site sales using this device. And in the More tab, that allows you to do a few other actions and also allows you to enter into the event settings area. So it's kind of like the hamburger menu in race day check-in, where you can access presets and configurations and make changes and go back to the events and so on and so forth. So let's take a further look at that more option. So when you're enter into the more option on your event, you'll see event settings, event stats, queued edits, and a few other things. So event settings allow you to customize or to set up presets and configurations and to customize this check-in purchase experience for this device and potentially other devices. So I'll go into detail on presets and configurations, but effectively they allow you to customize the usage experience for whoever is using this device. Event stats show a breakdown of the number of tickets that have been checked in, broken down by ticket group. Queued edits are really important. They show a list of any pending changes made by this device that have not yet been pushed to TicketSignup. So every 30 seconds, we push any changes that occur on the app to TicketSignup. If something is not syncing properly, you could look at this queued edits area and it will tell you if there's an issue. Not sure exactly what it could be, but it may be something blocking the sync, might be something invalid. But if a support person ever asks you to check your queued edits, this is where you'd want to go, more and then queued edits. Lock event allows you to lock this device down with a passcode. So you can make a passcode so that users cannot access certain settings. So you may have a fleet of devices that you're going to give to volunteers, and you want to make sure that they don't edit the preset to allow them to see more information than they're supposed to. You could lock it down so they cannot access the presets and configurations area unless they know the actual passcode. Force sync is used only if you had changes in the event structure, which you need to have the app pull down forcibly. So for instance, let's say I set up this app prior to Allison enabling the store items. We wouldn't know that store items were out there yet because the store hadn't even been set up at the time we imported the race. So force sync is really only necessary to be used if some kind of structural change happens to the event on TicketSignup and you need to forcibly apply that. It's not going to make the tickets show up. That all happens automatically. Get support does what it says in the tin. If you need assistance with anything, use the get support area to reach out to our help desk and they'll be able to help you out real quick. And then back to events. This is how you get back to that main screen, the list of events that you have available to you. Okay, so if you go into the event settings, this is where you can customize that experience. You can add presets, configurations, and have device level setting overrides. So there's a variety of different things that you can do with ticket presets, configurations, and device level settings. And I'll go through that in a few. And then also you can view and change the configuration that is currently being used for this app. So configurations essentially are modes that can be built by users for all sorts of purposes. So typically different stations will have their own configuration set up in advance of the event that is customized to fit that station's needs. So for example, you might have a station that only cares about checking in the main ticket at the gate. So the purchase tab is disabled, store purchases are not shown at all, and store fulfillment is disabled. Another station might only care about store purchase fulfillment. So they would change the lookup results so that when they tap a ticket, it goes right to the store fulfillment screen instead of the purchase view. And it disables the purchase tab as well. And then you might have one for that's just worried about doing POS style. They're just selling tickets on site. They're going to disable the check-in tab and they're just going to have the purchase tab available. So this is why configurations are so powerful. It allows you to customize the experience for your particular event for each and every single device that you have out there. So you can have a configuration that's custom built for your point of sale, and then all of your point of sale devices just simply have to load that configuration and they're off and running. So instead of going through and customizing the settings for each and every single device, you set up a configuration that's going to work for a set of your devices and they just load that configuration. So it's really powerful. These configurations can be uploaded to the cloud, and then whenever anyone opens the event on their app for the first time, they load it down, it will present to them a list and says, hey, this event has some configurations available. Would you like to pick one? And it'll give them a list of all the different configurations that are out there for this given event and allows them to pick and choose which one they're going to do right now. They can always go and change it if they are using one device for pre-sale or for tickets, sales, the door, but then they're going to flip it and go do store fulfillment later at the t-shirt station. It's really easy for them to go into the settings and just change configurations. Now, ticket presets they're used by configurations to customize how a certain ticket is displayed and what kinds of actions are allowed for that kind of ticket. So ticket presets basically are a way to say every ticket of a given ticket group within a configuration looks a certain way, or allows users to update certain information, or allows users to see certain information. So when you set up a configuration, you have to tell it, okay, here's my list of ticket groups that are available, and which preset am I going to use for each of those different ticket groups. And so if you came in, you would see the event settings area. By default, we just have a default preset, default configuration, and you can add a new preset here if you wanted to add a new one. You can just use the default in your new configuration if you're going to add one as well. The default is just to show the ticket group name and some basic information in the ticket view settings. But you can do other things like allow ticket on check-in. You may find that useful. You may want to make sure that people don't do that. It's kind of up to you. And all sorts of stuff. Now the configurations have a lot more going on, as you can see. Got a whole bunch of different panels in here that you can go through to see what is possible with configuration customization. So what I'm going to do now is going to try to make some different configurations on the fly that you might want to use. So first, let's do this t-shirt pickup station. So I've got my app right here, and I'm going to go into more. I'm going to go into event settings, and I'm going to add a new configuration. And this is going to be called t-shirt pickup. In the general settings, let's see. What I want to do is, no, I could show just the purchases, but that's okay. What I actually want is probably to come down to the navigation settings. This is the most important part. Down here, there's a lookup result option. And what I want to say is I want to go to fulfillment screen so that instead of going to the ticket details view, I would go right into the fulfillment area. So before I actually do this, well, I'll show you before how it changes after this actually. So I'm going to set that to go to the fulfillment screen, and then the bottom tabs, because this is only going to be check-in use. I'm not going to purchase anything here. I'm going to go ahead and just allow only check-ins. And store settings, show store purchases. This is fine. I want to show everything, and I can show it on both. That's totally good. Don't need to worry about these. I'll leave the default groups. Don't care about ticket numbers, and everything else should be pretty good. So let's go ahead and just save this configuration, and I will upload it to the cloud. When I do that, it will be available to any other people who load this event. I'm not gonna change, or I'm not gonna select this right now, but I could. So I'm still using the default, and I wanted to show you what it looks like before I show you the customized version of it. So this is a purchase. So Elizabeth has 3 tickets here. And I could come in and I could check them in one by one, or just check them all in right now if I wanted to. So let's say I want to check in all here. Okay, so that's done, pretty easy, nice and straightforward. Now, if I were to be using the t-shirt pickup configuration, things will look a bit different. So I could tap into here and see, well, this one doesn't have any store items, so I'd have to find one that has some store items on it. But I maybe we'll just look on, there we go. So this one has a t-shirt that was a medium blue. So I could say that I do want to fulfill this one. and save it. So that means that she picked it up. I've given it to her. So her medium blue t-shirt I have fulfilled. So this is how I would use it for a t-shirt station. So now let's go in and add another one, and we're going to set up my check-in station. So the check-in works pretty good as is, but I do want to make a slight change, and that is, let's see here. So what I want to do is, I want to change the default preset because I want to be able to allow this user to uncheck in if they make a mistake. So in order to do that, I'm going to save this as is, and then I'm going to update I'm going to add a new preset and replace it on this configuration. Because on the preset, I can say that I want to allow uncheck-ins. So I'm going to say this is a preset that allows uncheck-ins. I'll upload that preset. I'm not going to create a new configuration for it. It's telling me, hey, this preset isn't used anywhere. Be careful. But I know I'm gonna assign it. So now in my check-in station, I'm gonna go into my ticket groups. I'm gonna say allow uncheck-ins for all these. And I will also make sure that worked. Oops. Allow uncheck-ins. Allow uncheck-ins. Yeah, that looks good. There we go. So now I'm going to go back and I'm able to find anyone who's checked in and uncheck them in. So if I may want to do that. So while I'm on this check-in, I want to show just a quick thing here. So this is the QR code that a user would receive when they purchase a ticket. So I'm going to show you in the app how I go about actually scanning to look someone up if they brought their confirmation on their phone or on a printout. So I'm going to allow tickets to take photos while using the app. And it's going to allow me to scan here, and it's going to bring me, to the store fulfillment page. So I can go ahead and fulfill all, and we are good to go. So that's how I can use the barcode scanner with the Tickets app. So the last one I want to show is how to set up a point of sale station. So let me go back to my device here. Add a new configuration just called POS. Now there's a few things I can do here. Again, bottom tabs, I'm going to say only allow purchase. I'm going to leave the lookup result. That's fine. I'm not even going to worry about the lookup stuff. The other thing I want to do is I could do auto print after purchase. If I am using a label printer, it can right away print out a label right after I do a purchase. I'll enable that. And I'll select it. And so now you see at the bottom, check-in is not available and only purchases. So now we get into the process of setting up Square for my device or not. You can also come in and say, I'm gonna do manual payments. You don't have to use Square, but it makes things a whole lot easier if you do. So let me actually get out of this and I'm gonna show one other thing here. So I want to find a multi check-in. So I'm going to switch my configuration to check-in station, and I want to see one of those tickets that has multiple check-ins available. So let's see if there were any that we can pass. Here's one. Oops. 3. So this one right here should be a multi check-in. So you'll see I have 3 weekend passes available here. And it says I've used 0 and there are 3 left. So I will just check in one of those. And you'll see that, let me bring it up again. You'll see now that this first instance here has 1 used and 2 left. So I could check it in 2 more times. And then at that point, after I do it another time after this, it will sync down into the checked in tickets area. So it's still available. Now I check it in the final time. And you'll see that checked in tickets, it's now contained in this checked in tickets area. And it'll say at the top here that 1 has been redeemed completely and 3 have been purchased. So Katie still has 2 out there, but 1 has been completely used up. All right, and that's what I wanted to show for the demonstration of the different preset configuration options. So let's talk about using point of sale next. So before we get into this, one thing to keep in mind is that using point of sale with Square is nice, but it is a bottleneck on site. No matter how nice of an experience we make it, it is a bottleneck. If you can get people to purchase on their own devices on site, you're going to get through things a lot faster. So we definitely recommend that you print out QR codes of your purchases link, and this allows users to just scan this QR code and it'll bring them right to the TicketSignup purchase page, and they can process the purchase on their own device with their credit card that they probably already have stored on their phone or whatever, and it'll make things a lot easier. So currently we don't charge anything for point of sale, just Square fees. There's no partner revenue share on point of sale transactions at this point. It's even easier for phones to purchase if they have Apple Pay. It's really fast. No worries about lines. Yeah, just go to promotions and links to access these QR codes. You can print out on a nice poster like they've done for Scaregrounds here. Okay, so let's talk about using point of sale on your device if you want to set up a station to do that. First, you have to make sure that you have set up Square on your event dashboard. So I did that before. Again, remember on the ticket dashboard, search for Square, enable that toggle to have Square made available for this event, and then determine which business it's using. And then when you authenticate, when you log into the event, make sure that you check this box to allow the device to make purchases. And then you can go ahead and click the Purchase tab to get started with your setup. So it'll give you this message, which you saw earlier. If it's the first time on this device, you'll need to authorize it for Square use. Alternatively, you can use a continue option here. That will allow you to collect payment details on this device manually. Now, you can collect payment details manually in the Square process as well. So it's not an either or. If you authorize with Square, you can use the Square device, and then there'll be an option in the Square interface where you can say, actually, for this one sale, I do need to type it in for whatever reason. The card's not working, who knows? So we're going to go ahead and authorize Square. When I tap this button, you might get an error message about it not being available for your event. Go back to your dashboard, make sure that Square is enabled and that business is selected. So when you click that, you'll go into here and you'll see Authorize Square. So just go ahead and tap Authorize Square. This is just showing you where you would make sure to check that everything is working right. And when you get into the Square device authorization, there's a few things you have to make sure you do. You have to make sure that you give any services it requires permissions. So I need to, on this case, I didn't give it location services, I didn't give it phone access. It needs these things in order to connect to my reader. So just go through and make sure that each of these you've granted access to as requested by your device. Next, it's going to give you a little dialog that just has a big button that says connect a reader. This will walk you through the process of connecting the Square device. If you have one like this, you just hold the button and it will flash yellow or orange then you release the button and it will connect to your phone or your tablet or whatever you're using. So let's do a quick run through of what that looks like. So I'm going to authorize Square. I need to go back to my event settings here, click authorize Square. And I've already connected a reader, so it's already doing it for me. I'm going to go ahead and forget this reader so that I can show it to you again. Yeah. Square reader. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you just come into it. I'm going to go ahead and connect a reader, and it's going to tell me, press and hold the button on my reader. There's a little button in the back here. It's going to hold that until it goes orange, and then it will pair. Now you may, again, end up with some messages here. I'm going to say pair and connect. I'm going to allow access, pair. Takes a minute. Sometimes it has to update. Yeah, it's checking for a reader update. Okay, now we got to this point, and I've gone through all of these things here. If it says ready, this is my readers, and there's Square Reader 3998. It's ready. We are good to go. We're ready to start doing sales. So if you wanted to, you can go into here and you can name this reader. So you might put some tape on it and name this reader 1. Whatever you want to do, you can customize there. So I'm all ready to go, so I can just X out. And we are now ready. So if I ever need to re-enter, I could come back into Square Reader here, but I don't need to do that. So now if I go into the Purchase tab, you can see that I have available to me this interface that looks pretty similar. If you're used to using TicketSignup, I can purchase a Friday ticket. And here I can decide if I want to buy a small blue shirt. I can continue. And whenever I'm ready, I can actually come in and agree to the terms and pay now with Square. So this will bring up the Square interface, and if I hit charge, it'll actually, do the purchase for me, and I can tap my card to the reader. I'm not going to charge $4, but it works pretty easily as you get going. So if I wanted to, you can also, like I said, collect payments manually for Square in a similar way here. Oops. No, I can't get into it now. But so I could just do whatever I want. If I needed to do a new purchase at the top here, I can just select new purchase. If you wanted to do a store item purchase, a standalone store item purchase, you can use the tabs at the top to process just store items and so on and so forth.
And just a point here about tenders, you can also collect cash. So it does support a cash entry. And again, this is all about bring your own Square account, get the hardware, and you've got an app all ready to handle on-site purchases. And you can do all types of tender that they support.
Yep. So I believe that was everything that I wanted to cover today on going through the app and setting up Square. Were there any questions that came up as I was going through these?
No, we're looking really good, Matt. The only other thing I want to mention, again, especially for our timers that are coming from the endurance world, a key thing to think about here is that you're selling things, and think about the fact that sometimes the things you're selling could actually be used more than once. And so we're in races, we're just checking in one thing at a time. With tickets, you can actually sell things that have multiple usages. We call them multi-check-in or perpetual check-in. So think about use cases where you may have a series or a track field thing that goes across the whole season, and you just want to set up one event and sell tickets that maybe can be used 5 times. And so you're selling one thing, so we call it like multi-check-in. That's a new feature that came out over the summer. Lots of use cases for usage-based check-in that could be more than just single items.
Yeah, definitely. So like James said, keep in mind this is a really flexible tool that you can use to do all sorts of on-site sales that are affiliated with an event or separate from an event. If you're already a Square customer, it's dead simple to set up and use. So highly recommend it if you're looking for another source of revenue. It's a fairly easy add-on, I think, if you're used to using our services anyway. So I think that's everything for today. I want to thank Allison and Brian for doing the intro. Even I learned a bit about how to use TicketSignup on that, so I'm sure you did as well. We'll be talking to you soon. And again, this video will be out and recorded on our YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out. It should be available in another couple of days. We'll include this presentation if you want to walk through all the slides. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying the remote. It's not working. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm at a rave back here. I've never been to a rave, but this is how I imagine a rave would feel. Anyway, let me know when the people are done watching the video, okay? Because I need to thank them all for watching and tell them they can subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell and all if they want to see more videos from us. Plus, I was going to ask them to like the video, click the thumbs up button and all that. So just keep an eye out, all right? Gotta get this thing figured out. What is this? All right, I think I slowed it down, but it's still, I don't get this.